Hello and welcome to the walking talking topic on quadratics. Question number 6 with me, Mr. Barton. Right, what's going on here? Factorise 6x squared plus 13x minus 5. Just write that out a bit bigger. 13x minus 5. Okay, assume it's a single bracket. Is there anything common I can take out of those three? I don't think there is, so I think it's going to be a double bracket job. Now, as I've said all the way through these videos, there are tons of different ways of doing this. I'm just showing you my way. I do this. So that's quite good news at the end there, minus 5, because there's not many factors in minus 5. So something times something has got to equal minus 5. So it's either going to be 5 and minus 1, and minus 5 and 1, and so on. Not many different combinations there. So next thing I look at is this number at the front, 6x squared. I always like to assume the examiners are going to be nice, and I always work on the assumption it's a 3x and a 2x as opposed to a 6x and an x. But I'm ready for that assumption to be proven wrong, and if need be. And then I use logic. I've got to get 13x's. So 3x times whatever this is, plus 2x times whatever that is, has got to get me 13x's. Now, positive 13x's is quite a lot of x's to get to. So I probably want my 3x to times by a pretty big number here to get them positive. Bearing in mind I'm going to have to then take off some x's if this is negative. So I'm going to assume that that's 5, positive 5. And if that's positive 5, that's got to be negative 1. But I'm not going to just assume that's right. I'm going to check it. 3x times 2x, 6x squared. 3x times plus 5, that's positive 15x's. Minus 1 times 2x, that's minus 2x's. And that's where I'm getting the 13x that I need. And then minus 1 times 5, minus 5. So I'm done and dusted there. Okay, part B, rearrange to make m the subject of the formula. We haven't had one of these, so this will be good. Again, I'll just write it out, because this font couldn't be flipping smaller if it tried. Right, I've got to get m on its own. So first thing, I've got a fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by d. So I'm going to get WD equals 3m squared, multiplying both sides of the equation by d. Next thing, I've got m, it's been squared, then it's been times by 3. So I'm going to get rid of my 3 first. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. WD divided by 3 is equal to m squared. And then finally, to leave m on its own, I'm going to square root both sides. So WD over 3, whole thing square rooted, is equal to m. And I'm sorted. Okay? And then finally, what about this one here? Another rearrange. Rearrange to make b the subject of the following formula. Now again, I'll just write this out because I'm right next to this and I can't see it. Plus c. Right. This is a little bit trickier, but we'll be okay. When you've got b occurring in two places, get all your b's on the same side first. So I'm going to take bc off both sides. So I'm going to have ab, take bc off this side, equals, I've taken bc off that side, so I'm just left with my e. So I've got all my b's, which is the letter I need to make the subject, on the same side. And now I'm going to go into my routine. I'm going to factorise. I'm going to take out a factor of this letter I need to make the subject. So I've got ab minus bc. They've both got a factor of b in there, so let's bang them on the outside. What needs to go on the inside? Well, b times by a gives me ab, and b times by minus c gives me minus bc. So all I've done there is factorise, take a factor of b on the outside. And finally, I just need to divide both sides by this a minus c. b is being times by a minus c, so if I divide it by a minus c, I'm just left with b. And I've got to remember to divide this side by a minus c as well. And you can leave the bracket in if you want, and you end up with that. That's quite a tricky little factorisation, that, but my rule is get the letter on the same side, factorise, divide. Same side, factorise, divide. If you remember that, you can't go far wrong.